I'm going to jump right into it because we are a bit behind schedule now, and we're going to try to stay on clock. Especially we have a lot of people here, a lot of good projects, so it's going to take time. Thank you so much, guys. Can you give quick intro of what you're doing, quick intro of your project, so everyone knows exactly what you're doing, and I can deep dive with specific questions later on. We can start with you, Robert.
Rob, okay, cool. I'm Rob, co-founder of Demo. We connect every car to the internet, make them smart and programmable. It's a DePIN project, one of the earlier ones to do it. And we're up to 165,000 cars connected, been around for 3 years.
Thank you. Asa? Yeah, we have just one mic.
Oh, sure.
You have to pass it over, I'm sorry.
Hey, this is Asa. I'm BD lead at IONET, and at IONET what we do is put together the world's largest DePIN cloud to serve enterprise GPU needs. We support all kinds of AI, rendering, gaming, and any other compute-intensive projects.
Thanks.
Hello everyone, I'm Florian, threefold. We're building an infrastructure layer for the internet. Compute, storage, and a bare metal operating system so that anyone can participate and any protocol can actually run on top. And we're operating from Tanzania that now has been hosting us, and I will be deploying our system there at scale for 60 million people.
Nice.
Hello everyone, my name is Bourgeois from Nosana. So I don't know, are there people knowing Nosana here?
That's a marketing check. Yeah, nice.
That's good, that's good. So yeah, we are like a GPU marketplace on Solana. We support AI inference, also training. And our mainnet is available since 2 months. Yeah, I'm here with David, and I'm leading the partnership and the BD aspect.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason from Daylight. We're building a decentralized electric utility. We incentivize, finance, and orchestrate distributed energy resources across the grid to scale energy abundance.
All right, thank you so much, guys. I'm going to start with a question for everyone. You're going to have to pick one, even if it's already said before. What is the most interesting emerging trend in DePIN for you at the moment? You cannot use the one that is already being used before, so you have a good spot.
I believe that the next generation of DePINs will have much more interesting capital structures than the first generation. What I mean by that is that DePINs, for the most part, created this novel coordination mechanism where you launch tokens and use it to finance new infrastructure, which is a fantastic way to scale infrastructure rapidly. But it's like an infrastructure developer trying to finance an entire project out of their equity. We'll start to see projects evolve and start to move more DeFi native, more on-chain native, and explore additional capital structures on top of just pure token incentives. I think that's the most interesting emerging opportunity in DePIN today.
Nice.
My opinion is a little bit biased, but I would say like a GPU marketplace, obviously, right now. Just because now we see the numbers, we see that it's working. Obviously, there is a lot of improvement to be made, but people can generate like passive income. And we can support like one of the biggest narrative, like changing point right now, which is AI, with AI inference, AI trainings, and all these type of things. So usually I used to say that one of the most interesting use case just overall in crypto are DeFi and stablecoins, because that's the thing that everybody can use, even though it's a little bit boring. But now I start seeing like with the GPU marketplace that there is actually a use case, and we can support like Web 2, Web 2.5 businesses as well. And so that's why, for me, I've really bullish for that.
Nice.
Hello. I think one of the big trends we're seeing in our case is strong partnerships coming from Web2 companies, like telcos that are really like starting to see the importance of having this kind of partnership to be able to go at the edge and to accelerate the deployment where they don't necessarily have the capital and the capacity to bring these GPUs. So it connects as well with this idea of the marketplace and how fast we can bring the right infrastructure to the market, and so we've been focusing a lot on that.
I would say it's a coincidence of the decentralization of AI. So I'm seeing a lot of people around me, they are hosting models of DeepSeek or any other like high efficient language models in their own bedroom. And that's creating an immense opportunity for DePIN networks to connect this hardware together for interesting sharing economy, and also just on top of hardware, think about a marketplace for all flavors of models and all flavors of like personal data sets. That would be very interesting to have more people join the decentralized network and decentralized economy to build AI together.
Nice.
So when you think about what DePIN is, you take like a physical object and you imbue it with identity, the ability to send data, receive data, maybe pay for things. It's really kind of like a superpowered Internet of Things. And you asked like, what's the thing that I think is most interesting in the space? You know, Jensen Huang got up at CES. He said that ChatGPT AI is cool, agentic AI is cooler, physical AI is even cooler. And for physical AI to operate in the world, to get real-world training data, to have agency among other objects, and to coordinate, because not everything's going to be a humanoid robot walking around by itself. It'll be coordinating with cameras and sensors and thermostats and cars. DePIN really represents the most logical way to deploy that infrastructure. So I expect, as AI and crypto converge, a lot of people think it's going to be like crypto is a means to tell if a photo is real or not, which is cool, but I actually think this is going to be the cooler intersection of AI and crypto. It's going to be with DePIN.
Nice. Next question for you guys. Question for Threefold, and you guys can react on top of it. Where do you see? Which sector do you think are going to be embracing DePIN the most in the coming years? Which traditional sectors? On the traditional side, right? On the supply side of use case.
No, I think that what we're seeing very strongly coming is really the telco side. It's really a very big trend that we see in countries, especially in emerging markets like Latin America, Africa. There is this need from the infrastructure to grow faster, and they really enjoy the fact that we can have a full-blown solution that can actually grow with the public. So you're gonna have startups, especially with those partners. You're gonna start having real revenues coming faster, and I think this is the kind of sector we've seen. And obviously, this is a bit more a touchy subject, but also government. It seems that it's not natural for government to go in DePIN, but actually, it's actually extremely logical, because if you see right now the way that AI is growing around the world, basically it's an arm race for those gigantic data centers. And if we don't find a way to actually truly decentralize on the physical level those data centers for people to be part of it, and the P in DePIN of physical is really important in that sense, where it's not only just accumulating capacity, but in a way that the physical part of the hardware can be all in people's home. It can be in clusters, and those clusters are truly interconnected in a secure way. So I think that government will end up seeing the opportunity, and countries who don't have the internet, who don't have their own internet, they will see the opportunity to empower their citizen to be that internet that actually they cannot pay by themselves, because not everyone has 500 billion to print out there just to give it to a couple of companies to do it. So their only alternative is to it by the people for the people. So I know this is kind of a very uncommon answer that you would not expect from a DePIN project, but I think that government will really go big in DePIN in emerging countries, because the people there, they are the one that can actually build that for them.
No, thank you. That's a good insight actually, and makes sense, right? Because they don't already have this infra. There is no they have to start somewhere, so they can start somewhere that's much lighter, much cheaper, with less capex, and etc. Super interesting. Anyone want to react as well? Which sector do you see?
Yeah, I guess maybe I'm biased, but I do think compute is a very interesting vertical for DePIN, just simply because there's such scarcity of it. And if you look at any average AI startup, they spend more than 50% of their raised capital on just compute. And if you are spending with AWS, you're actually just not just paying for the compute, but a lot of bells and whistles that comes with it, and also cross-subsidizing all their random innovations and random business units. So with DePIN, we are able to cut the cost of compute to its bare bone, and it's roughly 20 to 30% of what you will get from centralized cloud. So that's a huge unlock and a huge accelerator for AI startups. And just on top of that, we see this explosion of solo developers and smaller teams doing verticalized AI applications, and they all need very flexible and very easily accessible like access to compute. That's something I believe DePIN is very well geared to serve and to provide.
Yeah, you guys are really down the stack, right, with the compute. So you're kind of going to benefit to any sector using DePIN on the sector of AI. You guys want to react on a particular use case you see in automotive and logistic? No, you guys are the first on the sector, right? All right, thank you so much. Next question, I think it's a general question as well. I want to ask the question of which trend do you see in terms of governance in the DePIN protocol, because it's an important part, right? Especially if we build a large decentralized physical infrastructure. How do you see trends evolving in terms of governance in order to both solve real-world problem with truly decentralized infrastructure behind?
Let me take a try. So I would think at the moment it's more of a challenge than like a solution to us, because like I think one of the nature of DePIN is that we are simply process so much data that we are not able at the moment to put everything literally on chain, and that creates this gap where just a small fraction, maybe like the economic layer of DePIN is on chain, but a lot of the tech stack, a lot of the data, how the data is processed is not yet fully on chain, and that's like kind of blocks a more full-scale on-chain governance. So yes, I guess like that's a solution we are trying to find, and I guess we will be able to eventually find a good solution with the scaling, with the like the advancement of blockchain technology.
You guys?
In terms of just like project governance, I think it'll simplify a little bit with a lot of projects maybe decentralized and made things a little bit too complicated too quickly because of fears of regulation, because they underestimated the cost of complexity. You saw Helium recently go from 3 tokens back down to 1, and just trying to simplify their model quite a bit. So you see a lot of, especially, I think historically, crypto projects had a much more protocolized ethos. I think a lot of the more recent DePIN projects maybe operate more like a SaaS business, where the company in the middle is kind of trusted and the token is really the only thing on chain. And so the governance is a lot simpler. That seems to be working for them in the short term. We're more protocol, so we do more governance on chain, but I see that trend as simplifying a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. For the simple reason as well, because we're still early, so the goal right now is like to make sure that the network grows properly. So if we prioritize decentralized governance and everything like that, you know, it might as well be, especially if it's too early, at the cost of the growth of the network. So maybe at first it's good to make sure that the early risks are mitigated, make sure that all the incentives are aligned, because they're like people that contribute to the network and people that need the network, and make sure that the people that contribute to the network are rewarded in a fair way, and the people that need the network for compute, for whatever, they can have access to all the resources at a fair cost. So it's all about balance, I would say, and we have to nuance it when we do it, because I know that sometimes we, especially in Web3, we like to be very extreme in something, you know. But I think that there is level to this game, and at the end of the day, it's a business. So you have to strategize before making any moves and making sure that you don't shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, makes sense. And at Daylight, how do you guys ensure transparency? Do you guys have a plan on that? Or?
Well, we don't have a token yet, so we don't have tokenized governance. So that makes things pretty easy to run and ship when you can do everything centralized. But I think that actually is one thing that we will start to see in DePIN is teams be more thoughtful about TGE. Early DePINs, I think TGE probably too early before there was any form of sustainable demand or product market fit. Then you lead into all kinds of problems where you're trying to pivot the business model while subject to decentralized governance and to community forums rather than the traditional method of rapid iteration of startup. What I think you'll see is projects follow the path that we've followed and others are following, which is you stay quote unquote private for longer. You ship, you find demand, you find product market fit, and then you launch a token when you have a real sustainable business model.
Nice. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I think that was also kind of a common ground on many previous panel that people started on the supply side and then slowly evolve. Okay, how do we build the incentive on top and make sure we're transparent? It's kind of the last step after the incentives and etc. Can you guys extend a bit on your experience and the trends you're seeing in the DePIN project coming on the market right now? Do you think that there is kind of a hype there, or how do you feel about that? Like, for how long have you been building there, and how do you see the competition coming? How many projects are launching, and how do you feel the market of DePINs now? Because we had the VC this morning, and they say it was a very hot space to invest in.
It's definitely hot in VC land, less so maybe in retail land. But yeah. I think what we are seeing is that when I first started working on Daylight, DePIN did not exist as a term. We were pitching helium for energy, and most crypto investors thought that was really dumb and thought that the whole DePIN idea was really dumb. And so it's been really interesting to see the narrative actually take flight as businesses, and like Helium leading the way and others, have really started to hit product market fit, and kind of the investment world has woken up to, hey, there's something here. I think the path now is projects proving that there are business models that can generate more than $3 or $4 or $5 million of ARR. Mm-hmm. DeFi protocols generate hundreds of millions, makers doing like 350 million of annualized revenue, and we need to see DePINs get to that level in order for, in my opinion, like the big kind of liquid markets to get incredibly excited about them. So I think there's a lot of excitement privately. I think there's a lot of projects coming to market, and now the impetus is on us and the communities to go scale projects that generate real recurring revenues.
Thanks, I like it.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I think it's obviously it's a hot topic, and there is a lot of trend around this. So there is more competition right now. Like for instance, on the compute side, there are like so many projects that are like providing compute for AI, especially because now there is as well like a big hype with AI. But what's your name again?
Jason.
Jason, what he said is actually true. On the long-term game, it's a business game, and you want to make sure that you generate revenue, that you break even, and then only the stronger will be, let's say in our case, be able like to compete with AWS or Google and take a little bit of the market share. Because if you incentivize people, for instance, to use your platform and so on, at the end of the day, it's not sustainable. For instance, so you want to make it, in a healthy way. And yeah, I don't believe in hype. So I think the hype can come, and it will go, and at the end of the day, like time tell, and it just reveal the truth.
Yeah, I think it's really about, to join you on this point, I think it's really about building. That's true that there is hype. Like you see lots of projects go out and it's all about token, and about the token becomes almost the product, and it should not be the case. Like it should be about like what is the product that you're building, what is the true service that you're giving, and how those services can actually combine to provide real value to society. Because in the end, that's the goal, is to create something that can really provide value to society. And what I really like also, like lately, what I've been seeing is how project can also combine. Like we have a very fun story that that is coming to life in Kenya, for instance, where it's a partner named Power Hive that is building also like solar panels and decentralized grid system for energy. And we're working with them, combining with the way that we build this internet layer. So the compute can be actually combined with the solar. And we're also like putting education on top. So like you can really start thinking at some point as DePIN, at something that can become extremely modular. And in a certain way, that's why we created something that could be compatible with any protocol, and very like a true layer zero for DePIN in a way with Threefold. It was really because we thought that at some point, DePIN will be more about how you combine projects together, providing products and very clear use case for certain markets, than simply launching tokens.
Mm-hmm. 100%. I think it's very, very good points, actually. Do you think it's an enabler of seeing more DePIN project, actually? Because, for example, in our case, we needed people that took care of the data. We needed people that provided the compute. We needed people to do this and that. And it's only possible because there is the other people taking care of the other breaks.
Yeah, I think on that, and this is so important. Like, I think we need to stop as much as possible the double dipping. That I see that everywhere. It's just like double dipping this, double dipping that. It's just like
what is a double dipping?
Double dipping is just like everyone is trying to invest on solving the same problem, and at some point, if we're all here, it's because we believe truly in open source. Otherwise, we would not be in that room. And we need to more and more think about how we can combine our project, combine what we're doing, our goals, to work together. I met recently some people who are in Mombasa. They're starting from scratch. They have a beautiful website, actually better than ours, way better than ours, and we've been working on that for 7 years. We don't miss lines of code, but website is something else. They have an amazing website, but they haven't done anything on the tech side. We came to them and said, like, just use everything we built. You're coming with the right intention. You're coming with like trying to provide a real service to the people. We don't need to recreate everything every time. Like the full idea of this ecosystem is that we can combine our projects to provide a service that is better than the existing status quo. So, yeah.
Yeah, that brings me like a bit back to around 3 years ago. I saw this article by Kyle Samani, like the boss of Multicoin, which is an investor in ours. And he said like the biggest magic of DePIN is to rapidly scale the supply side of the network and prove the magic of capital formation and putting together valuable resources in a short period of time. And I think 3 years later, more or less, like across all the projects on this panel, that has been proven, right? That's like I call DePIN 1.0, and now we are basically in this era of DePIN 2.0. We need to prove the resources we put together is actually valuable and people are going to pay for it. So that's why I completely agree. Like we are now entering this like very heads down, business centric, almost feels like a SaaS kind of mode. That we need to get professional. We need to get competitive with the Web2 competitors, the incumbents, and offer the level of professional service that people are actually going to pay real money for. Right? It's actually getting like pretty paradoxical. You cannot just throw out tokens and subsidize demand because that would just be fake demand and very like mercenary demand. That's where I think where the real building game and the real like go-to-market game starts. And I'm very happy to see a lot of projects competing on this front. I don't think we have too many compute projects because each project's approach is going to be so different. And even just like one of us win and one of us find a workable solution, that would be great for the entire DePIN sector, for the entire like crypto industry.
Thank you, Assad. Dimo, the last word. We have to close.
I thought that was very well said. I totally agree with all of that. I think certain DePINs, it depends. Some of them need a critical mass of supply to have any real value at all. Like a Helium as a cell network with 3 hotspots is useless. So it's like they can only really prove so much product market fit until they actually build the network. I don't think there's really hype in DePIN like other crypto. Like if I wanted to build something with hype, I would reskin the EVM a little bit and pick something else and launch an L1 and get a multi-billion-dollar FDV on day one for doing nothing with marketing, right? Or Twitter AI bots or meme coins. DePIN, I think you see a lot of interest in it because it's a novel way. A lot of the founders that we meet in DePIN, they're people that worked in cellular for 20 years and were frustrated by the inability to innovate and launch new infrastructure there and deeply understand it and have this vision, but like couldn't execute it, and now they finally have a way to do it, and they have an unfair advantage in doing it. That's like the I guess like hype in DePIN is that there's this unlock and innovation, and the valuations on DePIN tokens I think are much more in line, for good and for bad, with the actual business opportunity there. Like you have Helium launching huge new partnerships with Telefonica and AT&T, and like their token goes down that day. Whereas and then somebody launches a meme coin and it immediately rockets past it. So, I think, and for that reason too, is also why you see DePIN 2.0, where projects are so focused on product market fit because they know they're not going to just be able to launch a cool white paper, raise a lot of money, cash out, and sit on the beach somewhere. They have to actually build a real business.
Yeah, I think even if there is, that would be an amazing hype. There is not, unfortunately, but that would be an amazing hype to have, right? Focusing on revenue and building. I think there is an amazing crowd in DePIN now, and it's just amazing to have you guys. We're going to wrap this panel. Thank you so much. It was super insightful. Can you guys give a round of applause for the speakers? That was amazing. Thank you.